You're listening to Amanda Chinkan on Chanel in the City.
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Chanel in the City. I'm your host, Chanel Omari, and I have a very special guest here with us today. She is so smart, very intelligent, super talented. She's a dear friend of mine, and she is here. She's a nutrition expert and wellness expert, and she's here to talk to us today about all things gut health related, mental health related, and how to get your body and really get healthy at any age. Please help me welcome our dear friend, Amanda Chinkan, everybody.
Hi.
How are you? I love it. She's like, what? I'm so like awkward, right? I'm like, do we hug anymore? See how immersed in social media? I'm like, do I shake your hand? It's crazy.
Well, I know. I used to be a big hugger.
I used to be a big hugger.
Yeah.
Now probably not so much.
Now I'm like, I have to like suppress my natural instinct to hug people.
Well, let's talk about, you are literally killing the game right now. You are a nutritionist expert, right?
Thank you.
And talk to us a little bit about your background and the programs right now that you're pushing.
Sure.
That you're talking about right now with being healthy physically, but also mentally and emotionally all around.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is nutrition therapy. I have a couple of certifications, and my goal really is to help people correct their health issues naturally using nutrients. And nutrients are like a really not enough focus has gone to this topic. And it's really sad because the entire human body runs on nutrients, and we are severely lacking nutrition, and it's affecting everything about our health, and people don't realize it. And unfortunately, we're living in a world where we're like running to doctors looking for solutions for these issues and being put on medications that we don't really need if we had the right nutrition in place. And so my goal in life is to help people get as healthy as they can, as naturally as they can, and then see what their life is like from there. Like, that's really what I do.
So you really believe, and it's funny because a lot of doctors that I've been seeing, we're going to get into a little bit of my personal stories of struggling with physical pain that I've talked to you about, and working with Amanda, who's going to be my nutritionist. I'm going to be your client, and
Yay.
and refer a lot of people to you because I think this is the way to go.
Thanks.
And I think that we all rely on medications, and a lot of doctors have also told me, and sometimes you want to believe them, sometimes you don't, right? You're like, oh, how big is nutrition really? Because you become lazy. And some of them that are good want to set you up with nutrition experts like yourself and dietitians that will help you and say it's all about diet. But I think we are in a generation where everything has to be immediate, and we're so busy.
100%.
Right? That we want an immediate result. But you believe that with nutrition, if we really work hard, we wouldn't feel this pain. We wouldn't be needing to go to as many doctors.
I know that for a fact.
You know that.
I know that for a fact. One, my own story, right? I used to be super sick, and now I'm not. Thank God.
I'm sorry to hear that, but thank God. Because this beautiful woman, I'm like, let me have your nutrients and have the coloring of your skin. You look so healthy, thank God. And your teeth. Now I'm sounding creepy, but I'm like, what is going on here? But that's amazing.
Thanks.
And you're happy. You're like a happy person.
I am. But this was not the case
before.
Like, it really wasn't. It's crazy to say this, but it's almost 20 years ago now. But it really wasn't the case. I was actually the exact opposite. I was extremely unhappy. I was very overweight. I was 218 pounds. My skin was awful. Like, I had cystic acne everywhere. And in addition to cystic acne, I also had like extreme eczema. And like, it's crazy because it's like, it's even hard for me to receive that you're saying that when you say that, because I lived for so long in the opposite, and my personal stories, I kept getting like put on meds. And then I was on 6 and at 23. And then they were about to put me on a 7th and telling me they want to do exploratory surgery. And I was like, no, this is not my life. This is not what God has for me. Like, this is not it, And that's when I really started to do a lot of research into like what other options are out there and what I could do for myself. And now I've watched 1,100 other people do the same thing. And it's amazing and beautiful. I'm so grateful for being able to do what I do. But it's true. Like, we're not, like, major media wants to paint this picture that people who believe in holistic health are crazy. We're stupid. We listen to the spirits. We listen to whatever woo-woo thing they want to make up. But that's not the case at all. Literally, what I do all day is read studies.
Wow.
Like, I read studies every single day.
That's
and
amazing.
that's how I do. That's what I use as the foundation for what I do for people. And it's like, for you to come and tell me that I'm not basing my opinion on science, or it's not the right science or pseudoscience, are you reading the studies that I'm reading?
Right.
You know, it's like, no, this information is out there. It's being suppressed. It's being ridiculed. And we need to like open our eyes. The human body runs on nutrients. The human body does not like toxins, right?
Right.
If we can just do this, toxins down, nutrients up, we'll all be okay. Like,
And when did you start? Because I have psoriasis, which is very similar to eczema. This is so fat. I mean, God brought you to me. This is. I've been praying for someone like you. It's a miracle. It's amazing. We have a mutual friend who also is amazing. Shout out to Johnny, because he connected us too. And it's almost like God was listening to me and being like, "You're not crazy. You have a support system that is a bunch of experts. They're going to come your way." When you told me this, I was like, "There's no way." Then I read everything and I'm like, "She's right." Like, but you have to want it.
Yes.
And that's what I'm realizing. Like,
Yes.
I have to want to do the programs with you to get better,
100%.
to want to like put nutrients in my body, right? And not all the pizza that I love to eat. But when did you decide you're like, okay, after they said, okay, surgery, were you like, okay, now I'm going to start researching and I'm going to start doing my own thing and get healthy on my own?
Yeah. So I was actually like 27 when that happened.
Mhm.
So I said no. The surgery situation happened when I was like 23.
Mhm.
And I said no. And then I was like, I'm just going to go home and deal with this. Because also I'm West Indian, right? So like West Indian people kind of have a home remedy for everything.
I was going to ask why. Because I'm Middle Eastern and I come from a Middle Eastern family. Same thing, girl. My mom is Middle Eastern, Colombian. My dad's Middle Eastern.
Oh my God.
Everything is like, you're not going to the doctor.
Exactly.
You'll die in here. God forbid. I'm like, wait, what? The American mentality is like, yeah, go to the
Run to
doctor
the
for
doctor,
everything.
yeah.
That's why I'm so OCD about doctors and checking yourself out and medicine. And but there's a fine line. So I'm happy you're creating awareness. So okay,
Yes.
so you were raised right, West Indian.
Yeah, so I'm West Indian. So my mom's like, put castor oil on it, or like, you know, whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna let my mom and my grandma do what they do, and I'll just do what they say. And then I did change my diet at that time, and I started working out. My cousin and I we were going to the gym every day together, and that's really what changed me to begin with.
You felt the difference.
Oh
like,
my God.
Right then, okay.
My energy level like completely changed. And in addition to that, I was in also a very bad place in my life in that time.
Mhm.
And I was dealing with a lot of like resentment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it anger or like depression or anxiety. It was just a lot of resentment, and it was eating me. And it wasn't until I started doing the workouts, changing what I was eating, that I was like, I actually have the capacity to let this go. Like, this doesn't have to run everything in my life and everything in my existence right now. And so that was like the start of my journey. And then it got further and further and further along as, you know, over time. And I tell people all the time, you know, it took me 10 years to get to this place where I am right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's long. And so that's patience and hard work. I don't think people realize.
No. And one of the main reasons that I built my program, The Great Reset, is because I took 10 years and squished it all into 4 months.
You see, and that's where we're lucky. We're lucky. By the way, guys, you can get The Great Reset. I want everyone to also, while they're tuning in, I want you guys to go on AmandaChinkan.com.
Amanda Chinkan Nutrition.
Chinkan Nutrition. Sorry, AmandaChinkanNutrition.com. Order this. I was reading a lot about it, and I have the privilege and honor that I get you guys as great guests to help me, you know, but you really need to order it to change your life, because it's been changing me. And I literally want to do a journey with you and continue to see like how much I'm going to feel different. You know, 'cause especially in our industry, you're always on the go. You need to feel good. I don't want to even say our industry, anyone's industry, because we all want to
be our best.
Feel better, not have pain.
Yeah.
Feel like we're going to conquer the day, you know.
Absolutely.
So talk to us about, like what was the inspiration behind The Great Reset?
It literally was just 10 years of observation and realizing if I do A, B, and C for the majority of people, they'll get better. So the program is 4 months long,
Mhm.
and everybody's journey is completely different.
Right.
There's no like two people who do this process the same way, but the A, B, and C is we go through a detox period, we go through a reintroduction period, and then we go through an emotional period. And that emotional piece, I think, is the most important part because we go through what are the reasons why you choose the things that you choose? Why do you gravitate towards the things that you gravitate towards? Why do you keep going back to this thing? Why is it when you're stressed out that this is the thing that you're thinking about and you won't be satisfied until you eat it? We go through all of those things. So by the time you're done with my process, you would have detoxed and lost at least 30 pounds. You would have, in the reintroduction phase of the program, the goal of that whole process is so that you know exactly what you should and should not be eating based on your body. And again, everybody's body is different, right? So we introduce all different kinds of foods, and I will teach you how to test them so you know what works for you and what doesn't. And then we end it with taking care of what's up here, right?
Mental health, which is what we talk about big time on this podcast.
Yeah.
That we don't correlate. I don't even, there's times I'm in a really bad mood. I'm having a really bad day. I also have a lot of resentment and anger. I try to go to therapy, but I don't know how to deal with it. I even admitted it to my sister the other day. I said, sometimes I like anger eat. I don't know or emotional eat, right?
Yeah.
Eat your feelings where I'm so angry. So I'll shove down that slice of pizza because it's the act of it. It's doing it purposely. Something about it psychologically makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And
that's a distraction.
It's a distraction. And that's where I want to know, right? Like mentally, how do we get our mental health better? Because I don't think people realize should be the number one priority as much as your physical health, as much as working or hustling for your money and paying your bills. I'm like, if I'm psychotic, I don't think I'm going to be able to pay my bills.
It doesn't matter what bills you have waiting for you if you're losing your mind, right? So it's true. But yeah, it is a huge, massive component. And one of my philosophies is like, yes, we do need to deal with the mental health. It's a big thing. But if your body is so messed up, so toxically burdened, it's just dysfunctional. Like I meet women every single day that are like, my hormones are crazy.
I was just going to tell you. Or if you're getting cysts in the body a lot, like me or a lot of women I talk to, or hormones. And we don't talk about this as women because it's so taboo. Right. The same way it's taboo to like have a holistic and nutrition approach.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on how to cope with that, how to deal with that?
Well, and this is why detox is first in my program, because if we can get your body to run the best that it can, now you can address those things. If you're feeling like garbage, if you have no energy, if you can't get yourself to focus, if your gut's messed up, if you feel like your hormones are all over the place, and then I say to you, hey, let's go on this crazy intense journey right now, you're going to be like, I have no mental space for that. I can't do that. I can't commit to it. So what I do first is I'm like, forget all of that. We're not even going to talk about that right now. Right. Let's detox you and get you cleaned out and actually get your body functioning well where you feel good and your energy's right and you're sleeping well, which are all priorities during detox. Now we can address that stuff because you're in a place where your body can even receive that information,
That's really important because I was going to say on that note, like, how do you turn it off mentally? Because, for example, like we're in high stress industries. You're thinking about paying bills. You're thinking about also like for me, I do stand-up comedy. I'm doing podcasting, acting. I'm like, how do I become the next 25-year-old, even though I'm 40? How do I look younger without the Botox and putting all the poison in? And these are all questions mentally. You're like, but why am I even thinking this way? Did something happen in childhood? Did something happen in trauma?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts to like
I think that also part of it is like the industry, like there's a standard that I think is extremely unrealistic and makes women feel shame when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I think there's a beauty in aging.
Wow. I love that you're saying that right now. I hope I don't cry.
Don't cry.
But it's so true.
It is. It is a beautiful thing. It's people, so I just turned 39 and people are always like, oh my God, you're about to be 40. And I'm like, I am about to be 40.
First of all, you do also, 39 is young, but you look younger. I thought you were 26. So whatever she's doing, follow her because I just turned 40. And I don't know if you're married with kids.
I'm married.
You're
No
married.
kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say the solution's also not being married or no kids. But you want that. Or like
Yeah.
you find things like, for example, recently I found out that I had a fibroid, which we don't talk about. And that has to do with hormones and that has to do with the mental.
Mm-hmm.
So talking to someone like you about nutrition in general it's important. It's important to know like, what do I do to not have this complex of society that I'm not young enough, I'm not good enough, I am not aging gracefully,
100%. And I totally understand that. Like, listen, I have met a lot of people who are really Botox like cheerleaders, and that's totally fine for you. I respect everybody's choices. I personally would not ever do that, but because I know where it goes, right?
But so the information, right?
Yeah. So it's like my brain is like that. Like once I know something, it's like I can't unsee certain things. So like it becomes a problem when I'm cleaning at home, because if I'm cleaning and I see something, I'm like, shh, I can't unsee it. Now I have to clean it. But it's like that with these kinds of things. And but there's so much you can do to like lift your skin, put collagen back into your skin, refill your cheeks and stuff naturally.
Wow.
Like you can do those things naturally. Is it going to have the same effect as Botox? Absolutely not, right? You can like sculpt and shape and do whatever you want to with Botox, but you'll create a natural feel for yourself and give you your own natural confidence back, you know? And that's the thing. It's like you kind of have to be okay with the fact that you're going to get older,
You're right.
And there's a lot of things about getting older that's hard, right? If I lift up this knee, it's going to crack right now for you, right? So there's a lot of things that's hard about getting older, but it is beautiful. And we get to this place where we're like free, really, as we get older.
Right.
And we could do whatever we want to and say whatever we want to and still be super cute. 40 is the new 20. Like
that's what they're saying. But but I feel the same way you do. It's like, it's so interesting that this is coming at the right time, because I've been talking about it, but I'm so scared to sometimes talk about it out loud because it's like taboo. It's not sexy. It's not fun. And then you have ex-boyfriends, 7 of them currently in my basement now. No, I'm kidding. But that literally make you feel like, because, my ex-boyfriends are older, but they're getting like 25-year-olds and 26-year-olds. And they've even, some of them have had kids already, been married, divorced. I haven't been married or divorced or kids. And I'm dealing with like growing as an older woman. And that's what's been tough, or even mentally like comprehending that and saying I'm 40 with the confidence, like you said, and saying, you know what, maybe I don't have to get plastic surgery to hurt me even more. Maybe I can do it naturally and accept it. Like, talk to us about how important it is, like, to get your mental health, like in a way, like where you feel good and you can rationalize a lot of things, but also where you don't have to feel like you're competing with a 25-year-old, and naturally, like, because I feel like if I naturally took vitamins, if I naturally put the right foods in my body, maybe I wouldn't be feeling so down and insecure, right?
100,000,000%.
That's
like,
what I'm thinking that.
Yeah. So it's actually really crazy. But one of the things that happens when we go through detox in the process is like anxiety almost disappears.
Nice.
And depression, it's really interesting, but like depression changes. Like instead of it being this heavy like thing that you're carrying all the time, it becomes just like more about the issue and not about the feeling, if that makes sense. Like the feeling actually leaves. The situation doesn't change, right? For most people in 6 weeks. Like the situation that brought them to depression doesn't change, but the way that they feel about it changes, right? So it's not as depressing. And so you're asking like, what should we do long term? And the thing is, you have to take care of your body first. If you have nutrients missing, your brain literally cannot fire properly. It won't make the neurotransmitters that you need. It won't make the hormones that you need to help you keep you feeling really good. If you internally feel terrible, then nothing I say to you coming from the outside is going to really change that.
Right. And it doesn't matter like what details made you get there, trauma.
Exactly.
Past. Like you said, we unpack that after because you're just we're not feeling at our best.
Correct. And then the thing is like, if I bring up, I don't know, whatever, if I bring up like a really terrible situation that I know about for you, and this is before we detox, and I say to you, how do you feel about that? How are you going to feel about that? Right? You know, like it's still going to be super difficult. But if I detox you, you lose 25 pounds and you know exactly what you should and shouldn't be eating, and you're happy and you're energetic and you're sleeping well. And then I say to you, how do you feel about this situation? The way that your response is going to be changed.
Of course, you're
you know,
so
it's
right.
going to be different. And I always say this to people, like, we have to fix your body first before you even attempt weight loss, before you attempt mental health, before you attempt any of that stuff. We have to get your body running right. If your body is saying, here's all these neurotransmitters and the way that I code is going to make you crazy, there's no amount of therapy that's going to fix that.
That's so important, because you're right. And I'm a witness. I've been in therapy my whole life. Do you see it? You think I'm fixed, honey? I got a group of specialists and experts to try to help me get there. But that's a realistic answer.
It is. And I mean, there's a lot of different reasons for it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, and you know, we could talk for years about the different reasons behind it. But the truth is that we're kind of all in this same place where we really just need to give ourselves a break. We need to give our bodies a break. We need to take a lot of pressure off and just actually be okay with ourselves for a second. And then we can tackle all these things.
You're saying even with the stress of work, meaning no matter what people have demands, we need to put our bodies first.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I always say to people. Like, I meet people, you know, every day. And I always say to everyone who I meet, if you're looking for a diet, this is not the right program. Okay. If you actually want to change your lifestyle, if you want to change your relationship with food, if you're ready to change yourself, then we're going to sign up to do this.
That's amazing. That's inspiring. So take us through the detox. Like, so, and we're not going to give too much information because we want you guys to sign up for the program, obviously. And it takes a lot more. And we're going to have you back on the podcast to talk more stuff. Because we want to get also into like this. I want to get your opinion about like the celebrity nutrition. Amanda's she's worked with a lot of celebrities and a lot of people in general.
Yeah.
What is the detox portion of it entail, I guess you would say first?
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick, I do a complete nutritional evaluation on every single person that comes in.
Oh, great.
I do specialized nutrients for every person that comes to me. So like, again, no two people go through this process the same way. And then we detox with food. You actually eat all day, every day, whole foods, fruits. So it's not like we're cutting out fruit. You're just eating whole food and taking your supplements for 6 weeks.
Okay.
That's literally all that it is. And there's a lot of rules that are involved in that, but we don't have to get into the nitty gritty right now. But that's pretty much it. We do that for 6 weeks. I guarantee to people in writing that if you follow this to the T, you're going to lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks.
Wow. And that will show a great deal for health reasons too.
Yeah. I mean, 73% of our country is overweight right now.
Me too.
40% of those people are actually obese. You know, I don't really subscribe to like the guidelines of what's overweight and what's not, because everybody's built very differently, right? I have had thunder thighs since I was like in middle school. I'm broader than most women. I'm not going to fall into the same category as somebody who's like 5'2" and petite, right? So I don't really subscribe to those things. But if I look around, it's like, I think we're all unhealthy, you know? And that's more important to me. Like, if you look at yourself and you're like, I'm unhealthy, that's the thing that should be the catalyst for your change. You know?
Not about the losing weight specifically. Like for me, when I found out about the fibroid, which is embarrassing to talk about, but I like to bring awareness, it wasn't about the weight. It was more about losing the weight to be healthy so I can maybe decrease it so I can not have to have surgery, God forbid, or, you know, because that comes with complications. It's things like that of really, and as you get older, you're right, you appreciate that more. You're not like, I'm 25 and I just want a six pack. It's like, I would love a six pack, but I would also not love cancer, God forbid.
Exactly.
You know? And like, that's the truth. Like I would like to live a longer life. I want to enjoy the quality of life. I want to be happy.
Exactly.
And I do agree with you that I think, like for me specifically, if I was in my happiest state, like I try to be the nicest person, but we all have our moments. We go 0 to 100. Things don't go our way, or things, even there's so many times I try with therapy to even understand where people are coming from. And it's still sometimes a conflict or an ask. But I bet you if I did change my lifestyle, do you think my reactions would be different?
100%.
And I would maybe get
100%.
more of what I wanted.
One of the things that people tell me
Yeah.
all the time is I feel more rational.
Mm,
I hear that all the time.
yeah.
And the thing is, like, anger is a very easy emotion for your body to live in. And the other,
Why do you think, by the way?
because we have cortisol and adrenaline.
Okay.
So one of the things about being super stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
especially in your industry, in most industries, if you're a doctor, you're super stressed out. If you're a lawyer, you're super stressed out, right? One of the things about being super stressed out over a long period of time
Mhm.
is that your body will create a low-key fight or flight mode
Okay.
where you're sitting in that every single day. Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when we think of fight or flight, we're like imagining, moms lifting cars off of babies and like those kinds of situations. But your body has a low mechanism for fight or flight where you can literally run on adrenaline every single day. And when you run on adrenaline, it literally takes like this is anger.
Mhm.
Adrenaline will bring you up right here. And as soon as something tips the scale, now you're in crazy land, right? And now you're not seeing things rationally. Or even if you are the person in the situation who's the offended, like the
Mhm.
hurt, your response doesn't have to be as intense,
Mhm.
And it's because your body is sitting right here waiting for something to piss you off so that it can shoot adrenaline through your system. And with adrenaline comes all the corticosteroids. Corticosteroids make you a little aggressive,
Mhm.
right? So if you find that your temper or you feel like your reaction to things is not appropriate, it's literally a physiological thing. It's not just an emotional thing. It's not just a techniques and strategy thing. It's like my body is wired to be nuts.
Right. So it's not just like I don't feel heard. And it could be a combo, but
Yes.
it's more like,
Yes.
right. Because for me, I always thought, is it because I'm not feeling heard? And then I was super impressed by the way, like you handled a lot of things. It's like, I feel like when we talk, it's more being proactive and like, it's not about the drama or the gossip or the nitty gritty. It's
Yeah.
about like, how do we fix it? And like, I understand, I hear you, you hear me,
Yeah.
let's move forward. And
Yeah.
that's the type of person I want to be, where I'm constantly just changing myself for the better. And no matter who and what is throwing at me, I'm dealing with respecting them. I'm dealing with doing the right thing. And
Yes.
I'm dealing with my reaction, not being so stressed and not
Yes.
thinking rationally.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that the one of the big things is even being able to make that choice, right?
Mm.
I'm from Brooklyn. I have a lot of hood in here.
Shout out. Me too. I was born and raised. Shout out to Brooklyn. Me too. I think that's why I think I'm Joe Pesci's daughter. I'm like, you want to take it outside? And then I look back and I'm like, but why? Like,
But
especially
why?
working with you, I'm like starting to think, I'm like, but why do I have to get there? Like, there's so many
Yeah.
things where you could take the time. It's taking the time though. And like what you said, wanting to do that
Right.
and sitting there,
Right.
maybe messaging ChatGPT, maybe calling a man and signing up
Stop
for a
me
session.
from punching this person. Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, how can I handle it better? How can
Yeah.
I reword this better? Even if somebody's coming at you and not understanding,
Yeah.
how can I take the time to be like, okay, well, I want to do this, but this is because, yeah, like you said, like with society, you feel like sometimes you have to, or as women, I don't know if you feel this way, you have to be firm, not necessarily aggressive, but assertive to get your point across.
Yeah. Listen, there's so many layers to this, right? Especially as women.
Yeah.
Like we get, pushed to the side and told to be a little more quiet and not as, all of those things. Like those things are very true. But I think that the one thing that we get to control in these situations is the way that we respond, right? And I think that if my cousins listened to this podcast, they would laugh a lot.
I hope they do.
Because I was kind of known for being a little crazy, okay? So, and not being super rational and doing all kinds of bad things, right? So I'm speaking from experience where I'm saying, like, I think innately, like subconsciously in my brain, my initial reaction to everything is to go into Brooklyn Amanda and like let her deal with things. But I think that the craziest thing that has happened to me in the last 10 years is being able to have the capacity for rational Amanda to be like, hey, Brooklyn, just chill right now. Let me handle this. Okay.
Oh my God.
Like-
I love that. Yes. And you feel that helped over the years with the nutrition.
Yes.
Right. Because if I had more nutrition than me or good nutrition or good food in me,
Yeah.
I probably would feel the same way and not let every little thing get to me.
Exactly.
And probably have the strength and the time to even figure out how to be proactive. I think a lot of us just like get really tense, like, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't want to do it right now. I need you. And that's where
Yeah. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's not like there's not moments like that in my life. Of course
Right.
there are. But I let those emotions, like one of the things I try to practice is let myself feel it. I want to
Mm,
let myself feel that emotion, acknowledge that it's happening to me, figure out where in my body is it taking place, and talk to it and say, it's okay that you're feeling this way. It doesn't mean that we have to react this way,
I
you
see.
know? And like, and then I'm allowed to let my rational self come back into the driver's seat, right? And I think that that's a huge thing, being able to let yourself experience the emotion and not act on it,
Yeah.
you know? And
That's
it,
the hardest for me.
yeah, it
I know
takes
how to feel, but it
practice.
takes practice for me to feel and not react.
Yeah, yeah, it takes a lot of practice.
Because a lot of times, like I was going to talk to you about this, like, because when we're going to get to also like some of the nutritious foods you do recommend, like to just stick with more than not. Because, like, for
Sure.
example, for me, a lot of times I know I'm aware and I'm aware that, like, I'm a stand up comic, so I want certain things. I want the stage time, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel this way, like, if you want a certain client or you want to work with certain people, you need the money. And sometimes I see other people getting what they want. And a lot of the people in charge will tell me, and I don't want to say lies because to them it's not a lie. To them it's an excuse or
Right.
what they feel. And a lot of times I used to have this like stubbornness as a kid, like, well, it's not justice, or I have to make it right, or I have to figure out a way. That's why I had OCD a lot, like a way where I would repeat until I figured out a way to get through to them. And now I'm realizing sometimes they might just not like you, or you might not just get. Like, I guess my question is, by doing all this, do you think there's a way to change people's minds about you, or to, be the chosen one, be the one looked at? Does that have to do with a lot of like you taking care of yourself?
So it might be a little woo-woo for people.
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt. And also, like, how to react if somebody tells you, like a million people have told me, like, really inappropriate things and like throw it at me and be mean to me and like literally tell me I'm not going to make it. And I'll literally make a room laugh. And the next girl who's 25 years old will make the room not laugh so much. And that guy or that girl is going to be booking that person and tell me I don't have it. So I'm wondering, does the change begin within? Does the change begin with the lifestyle?
I think that there's a lot to be said about like energetic magnetism.
Oh, yes. You're so smart. Yes.
Like-
I'm like, she's beautifully said, Amanda. Be in my ear. Beautifully said. Oh, my God, how smart you are. Okay. God, we should be paying you, honey. All right, let's do this. God, because that is what I was. Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that. Because I
Okay.
will tell you, like, before I got my life together and my health together, so my husband is like, he's like, when I say the love of my life, I feel like that's like not an accurate thing, right?
Okay,
Like
yeah.
he's like I prayed for him.
Wow.
Like I feel like I manifested him for real. And the thing is, if you looked at who I dated before that, this does not line up.
Right.
Like it really didn't. And this is like scumbag central. And then my husband is like Prince Charming, right? And the thing that changed was me, right?
Right.
That was right after the surgery situation. I was like, no, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to get myself together. I'm going to work on my temperament. I'm going to do all of those things. And then I I was single for like 2 years. And that's when I met my husband.
Wow.
That's when he came into my life. His energy was never going to be attracted to the person that I was.
That's so fascinating because we talk about also dating here. I'm wondering, so that does have a lot to do with it. When you change your lifestyle, you're going to attract a different type of partner.
You're 100% going to attract a different partner because energy recognizes energy, right?
Right.
Like calls to like, they used to say, right? So if you are chaotic energy, you're only going to attract people who have chaotic energy, no matter what they look like on the surface. And how many people do we know like that? That like, oh, you seem like a normal person. And then it's like, I open my window and your face is right there. Why? Like how many people have we gone through in our life like that? If your energy is chaotic, you're going to attract that. So the 25-year-old comedian might not have been as funny, but she might have been more attractive to the booking agent, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying physically, I'm saying energetically, right?
Right.
She might have been more attractive to that person, and he probably might have felt like I could sell this easily.
I see. Right.
Right. And not know what to do with I'm not saying your energy is
No, yeah, of
chaotic because I
course.
feel like it's not chaotic, but you know what I mean?
But
You
it
might
could-
not know what to do with that.
that makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
though. And so you're saying there is ways though to maneuver that, right? Because her
Yeah.
energy could be like, take me or leave me, I'm confident. I come a lot from a desperate energy because of work ethic, because I know that I'm not going to get what I just want thrown at me. Or that's interesting though, because you're basically what you're saying is like, they might be manifesting different energy. They might
Yes.
want it just as badly as me, but their aura is showing, if you don't want to give it to me, that's fine.
Exactly.
And if you want to give it to me, that's great. I'm gonna do it with or without you.
Right. It could be confidence. It could also just be ease.
What if but do you believe in the superficiality where the same way the stigma of society telling us that we shouldn't take the holistic approach because they want to make money off healthcare, of course, is the same thing with looks? Is it comedy, entertainment, whatever it is it because they feel like that person's just pretty? So if that person's pretty, I'm not going to really talk back to a person who I feel is like which I don't agree with. I'm not about superficiality. So I'm wondering, but I love how you're like, no, it's energy.
It's energy.
Because you could be just as pretty as them.
And not go anywhere
And
in
not
your career.
go anywhere, really. That's
Really.
crazy. That's because now I'm trying to think differently and reprogram my brain. Because I'm always like, no, because she's prettier than me. And it's like, well, that might not be the case. He might think in his head, I'm prettier than her. And he might still not want to give me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was used to men just telling me all the time, well, you're not as pretty as her.
Yeah.
That's where I'm taking it like, oh, but I love how you're changing our minds.
First of all, whoever said any of that to you can kick rocks. Okay?
Thank you.
Because you are gorgeous.
Oh, so are you.
And I love your hair. It's amazing.
And I wanted to tell you, the minute I met you, high vibration. But you see, I have to be around people more like you so that I could vibe high so I don't even have to think about pretty or not.
Exactly.
I'll think about my body. You know what I mean? Because maybe if I fed my body better or.
I think that there's a couple of things, right? Like one, I want you to be comfortable in your own skin.
Right.
If you're not comfortable, we have to fix that.
Right.
It doesn't mean you have to be skinny.
Right.
But you have to be comfortable. So one, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And then two, we need to clear up all the pathways in your body so that you can think clearly.
Yeah.
You can process your hormones properly. You can use the nutrients that you have appropriately and actually be on fire.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think most people have never really even experienced in their lives. You know, what does it feel like to be on fire? Like actually be at your best. Your brain is firing. You have the healthiest poop of your life. You have the best sleep of the day. Like, what does that actually feel like? Most people don't know.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
We don't.
No. And the thing is, it's, I think if you talk to like any of my clients, they would probably agree with me. But that feeling alone will change everything about how you go forward. And that's another reason why we do detox first, because I want to get you to that feeling as fast as I can, because that is the thing that's going to propel you forward. If look, we're in Ozempic culture, right? We're in the Ozempic universe. I have not met somebody, I mean, me personally, I do also meet a very specific group of people, right? But I personally haven't met somebody whose energy is different from doing Ozempic.
Wow.
They're skinnier.
Right.
But they have all the same insecurities.
Wow. You see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's so important to introduce the reset plan, because it's a lifestyle.
It's a whole
you could get
lifestyle.
all the, that's what I want to see. That's why I tell my audience, I could get all the plastic surgery I want, and I can get all the Botox I want, and the Ozempic. I'm not going to be happy. That's why when I told you, I was like, I want to be happy within and outside. And you're like, girl, that's why you got to get my plan. I was like, no, she's right. And coming to you as the expert, not thinking that I know best, because I'm not the one researching every day. And I come to you to say, hey, what kind of foods do you think? And when you discuss nutrition, you're talking about foods, but you're also talking about vitamins, right?
I'm also talking about supplements.
Like, talk to us about that.
Of course, want you to eat whole foods, and I want you to eat organic whole foods, but even organic whole foods don't have the same nutrient content that we used to have even 50 years ago.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's actually super crazy. But they did this in 2001, I think it was. They did this study of tomatoes from the 1970s versus today. And I guess they had like samples from tomatoes in 1920. Long story short, 1970, sorry. Long story short, the tomatoes from 1970 had 25 grams of vitamin C in one tomato. Today, that same exact tomato is 5 grams.
What?
Yeah. So
How did it decrease? It's
because of soil erosion and pesticides and herbicides and glyphosate and poor water quality and a lot of the air pollution
Wow.
and a lot of different things. So it's all affecting the quality of the food that we grow. So one of the big steps is we need to fix our food supply, which hopefully RFK will do. But one, we have to eat whole foods. But two, we have to also recognize that even though we're doing the most in eating the whole foods, we still need to bridge the gap between what the food provides and what we actually need. And that's where supplements come, you know? So like people who do my program, I do put them on a bunch of supplementation, depending on what you need, right? But I do put them on supplementation for the first 6 weeks so that we can get your nutrient stores way up.
right.
And then the goal is I know how to eat now for my body. So I'm going to eat this way forever. And we live the 80-20 life. It's not 100%, right? But I'm going to keep this lifestyle for the rest of my life. And then the only thing that you should need after that is like a multi.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Unless you have like a specific health issue, right? Like I have a lot of clients that are hypothyroid or who have Hashimoto's. You have autoimmune disorder. You're going to need support in that area. So like other than issues like that, where you have a specific health issue, you shouldn't need anything other than a multi.
Wow, that's amazing.
If you're eating right. Yeah.
And now talk to us about some of the foods you would recommend, or do you recommend, instead of generalizing, you recommend really signing up for a program like yours to really specify, right? Because you can't be like, Chanel, eat, let's say, for example, broccoli, if maybe that's not, maybe I can eat broccoli, but maybe I need to eat more eggplant than broccoli. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah. There really isn't a food that I feel like is good for everybody, to be honest. I think that the easier question is, what should we not eat? Right?
What should we not eat?
What should we not eat? Nobody's going to like my response, but I'm going to tell you the truth. We should not be eating grains, like at all, or as little as possible. And we should not be consuming dairy.
So smart and
So
at all. Not at all even.
No. So there's a couple of forms of dairy that I think are super fine and acceptable. One of them is A2. A2 dairy is the dairy that we were supposed to have before we messed everything up. Okay. So A2 dairy, it's crazy because I have people who are lactose intolerant, and then I say, please drink this A2 milk, and they're totally fine. Wow. Okay. And without getting into too much, literally A2 is the way that milk should have been forever. Okay. So if you're doing A2 dairy, that's fine. If you're doing European cheeses, that's usually okay too.
Okay.
Because they have a lot better standards for their cows than we do. But anything that is traditional dairy, you're literally eating inflammation. You're drinking inflammation. Like there's no way around it. In American dairy, we have twice as much A1 protein in our dairy than is natural for cows. A1 protein literally causes gut inflammation and actually slows your gut down. Wow. So your food will sit in there longer and ferment and cause problems and create issues like leaky gut and create issues like inflammation, systemic inflammation. And it all comes from eating traditional dairy.
That's amazing that you know all this. Wow.
Yeah. I told you, I read studies all
I'm
day.
like, wait. I'm like, wait. I was like, we'll have 2 more hours here because you gotta write a book, girl. Girl, you gotta write a book or an audio book for the people who don't know how to read. Audio, I'm telling you, I support it. This book's gotta come out next year. I'm manifesting this. Because
I received that.
I feel like, you're so knowledgeable, and like that's the thing. I'm like listening, I'm like, oh my God, she's right. And how do I do this and how do I get this? Because a lot of times, again, with no knowledge.
Yeah.
And people just telling us, go to Whole Foods, do this.
I know.
We're like robots.
And it doesn't help that our doctors are like, take this medication instead of go get some sun and exercise and don't eat shit. Like, if that was the prescription for everything, we'd all be fine.
And you believe that we can live a longer life and even like cure these diseases, anything, autoimmune, different things, if we follow your plan. Like, if we work hard to follow your plan, if we want to do it. Like.
Yeah. But the thing is, I've seen people, and if you go on, like, if you just Google me, people talk about me, and what we've done together. I've seen people put autoimmune in remission. I've seen people come off their medications. I honestly couldn't even guess how many people have come off of blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes medications with my programs. I can't tell you how many people have taken off of, I don't mess with anybody's prescriptions.
Right.
They go to their doctor and work it out, but we've helped them get to this place where they can work it out and get off their meds, you know?
Right.
And the thing is, like, I've seen it. I've lived it. I've walked these journeys with these people. If you're ready to change, if you don't want to stay on these meds, if you know that they're not even freaking working for you, then you need to call me. Like, that's really what this is.
Yeah.
You know, if you're ready, it's a big change. It will overhaul your whole life, but you'll never, ever be the same, ever.
I love that. Well, Amanda, you've been amazing.
Thanks.
One restaurant you can recommend in the city, because, you know, besides coming to you, because I feel like she's the restaurant we should be going to, that's healthy, that you recommend, that you go to, that you go with your husband, that we can make better choices. Because at Chanel in the City, we try to like pick a hot spot, but we also want to make better choices when we're picking the hot spot.
That's a really difficult question.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this is where the 80-20 life comes in. There's a lot of things that I just don't eat because I know they're bad for me personally, right? But other than those things, I pretty much eat whatever I want to. You know, like 80% of our diet, my husband and I, is protein and vegetables and carbs, right? We eat a lot of healthy carbs, potatoes, sweet potatoes, cassava, rutabaga turnip, castor, like all of that stuff, right? We eat a lot of root vegetables and squashes. But when we want to cheat, we cheat. There's certain things that I don't eat no matter what because I know they mess me up. But as long as my cheat meals don't include those things, it's good to go. And that's the thing. You have to know what's on your list, right? Which is why we go through that reintro phase. So you know what's on your list. If I know I'm going to pass out as soon as I eat this thing, I'm not going to eat it because we're in the city, you know, we're YOLOing today. I can't pass out, right? So I'm not going to eat that thing.
I love that.
Right?
So cute and so funny. I love it. What a charming, beautiful woman. Okay, go on. I can't get it out.
So I think that the important thing is to just, one, choose whole foods no matter where you're going, right? Again, it's easier to answer the question, what shouldn't we eat, right? Please don't eat fast food. Just don't do it. Don't do it. There's so many, especially in New York City. You literally walk down the road and there's a mom and pop cooking actual food. Right?
You're right.
Eat actual food. That's the number one thing that I'm going to say. Like, don't eat processed food. Don't eat processed grains. Definitely don't eat processed dairy, you know, and just stick to actual whole foods. You are a organic, earth-made being. You need things that are from the earth to survive. That's it.
I love it. Amanda, you have been amazing. Please plug in. Thank you so much for being on Chanel in the City. We're going to have her back because I know this audience is obsessing over you like I am. And we're going to have so many more questions, and an hour is not enough. But thank you for being here.
Thank you
for sharing your knowledge. I am recommending everybody who's listening to this podcast, please go on Amanda's website right now. Sign up. I'm signing up. We're going to do a journey together. We're going to work it out. We're going to see how it goes. Plug in your socials where everyone can follow you, your website, please.
Thank you. Amanda Chinkan Nutrition. My last name is Chinkan. And literally, if you type that into Google, you will find me. Everything is the same. Instagram, TikTok, whatever, Facebook, everything is Amanda Chinkan Nutrition. My phone number is right on Google. If you call that number, I'm picking up the phone, okay? My phone number is on Google. My, contact me information is all on there. You can find me. And again, if you're ready, if you want to make change, if you want to get off these meds, if you want to take control of your life, please pick up the phone and call me.
Amazing. You guys have a friend in her and she will help you change your lifestyle. Amanda Chinkan, thank you so much again for being on Chanel in the City. Thank you for joining us and tuning into this week's episode. Subscribe, rate us 5 stars if you want. Chanel in the City, and tune into us, and we will catch you next time. Thank you guys so much for being a great audience. Thank you for being such a great guest and changing my life, really, and inspiring me. You're amazing. You're amazing.